SBAC test tomorrow, you're going to have to take a performance task. Okay, within this performance task, you're going to have a couple of questions, but you're also going to have to write or type, we'll say, an essay. So in order to do this successfully, you're going to need some background info. So that's what today's lesson's about. And instead of having Mr. Foxworth or any other teacher do it, they're having one English teacher teach it to the juniors and the freshmen. So that's why I'm here today. You're going to need a piece of paper. So get that out. We're going to use it for note-taking.
Teacher, sorry for the interruption. As we started the junior SBAC test, we're
Task number 1. I wrote a question up, a prompt up on the board. If there is a world news event, or any sort of news at all, where do you get the news? Where do you get this new info? I'm going to give you a couple minutes. I want you to write down where you get it. Anywhere. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sources, but wherever you get your news, I want you to write it down. Question, yeah?
Is this us specifically or just in general?
You specifically, if you want to turn it into a general statement, you know, I get my news from Facebook, but others might get it here, blah, 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 blah. So you could turn it both ways. Where you get it, where the world gets it, or both. And more specifically, I'd like to know where you get your news. Yep, just list it. You can list it in a list. You can write a little paragraph about it. I get my news from blah, 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 blah. You all right, babe? So watch where I'm putting my feet.
Is internet capitalized?
What's that?
Is internet capitalized?
No.
And we're being filmed.
Yeah, come on, Edward. Get a piece of paper out. Cassie and Newts will kind of update you. We're just writing about news. Okay, so one at a time, raise your hand. I want to hear from you at this point. Where do you get your news? And we're going to, we'll create 2 lists. Where do you get your news? Back there, Balby. Or, no, not another one. Is it this, or is it, like, you're talking TV? Yeah. Television. Okay. Or, if you want to go to the web, we'll go ESPN.com, right? SportsCenter's on both. Okay. Let's see, who else? Who else has something? Benson?
MSN.com.
MSN. Internet still.
I also read a lot of People magazine on the mobile.
Magazines. Okay. Who else? Anything other than these websites or, yep, SoFlo.
Gossip.
Gossip. We'll go with people or word of mouth. Just what you hear, right? Yep, go ahead.
like cards.
What was it? I'm sorry?
Like cards, like if someone sends you, like, I don't know what kind of news they're talking about, but I thought about
Just
like, maybe like if someone's gonna have a baby, they'd send you a card.
So mail, right? We'll just go with mail. Mail, it's a snail mail is what we call it now. Snail mail. Takes forever. Okay. Let's see. Does anybody get their stuff from Facebook? Yeah, Facebook. Pinterest. Anybody have a Twitter account? Who tweets? Does anybody blog? Blog? No bloggers? Does anybody else have something else other than what's up here that you think? Yep, go ahead. Text. So let's put this down. It's got all on us. Smartphones, apps, and texts. We'll put all that under phones. Yep. YouTube. YouTube. Yeah.
Email.
Email. That's going to be over here. And we'll do one more. One more.
Google Plus.
So Google. Okay. What about? Might need to add that one. Radio. Okay, so we have two categories here, but these all fall under one umbrella term, and we'll call this media. Media is how we mass communicate. Mass communications between the entire world, and this is how we do it. You've got options. You've got option B, you can go this route, or you can go option A, you can go this route. We've separated them into two distinct categories. What category names could we give each category? I want you to think about it, and then this is a certain category. What should we call it? This is a certain category. What should we call it? Suggestions. I'll give you, it's rhetorical for a moment. I want you to think about it. Not probably all the list. This list right here. This list. Suggestions for a category name. Suggestions for a category name. What should we call this bad boy? Think about it. It's radio, TV, newspapers, snail mail. Is old. It's the old stuff. It's the old way of communicating. Okay? Something that's old, that's been done over and over, or it's been happening for a long time. We usually call it traditional. These are traditional ways of communicating. Printing stuff up. Newspapers, magazines, through the radio, snail mail. That's traditional. Let's stay with kind of the same idea here. What is this? If this is old, what's this? Something back there said new. This is the new way to communicate. This is the new way, or modern. Ben said modern. That's a good word too. We'll call this one then non-traditional. Non-traditional. Why do most of us choose? Because I think most of us put down, I got a lot of these answers. ESPN, MSN, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter. Why do we choose to use non-traditional? It's easier. It's much faster. I put in an article I wrote to Summer at the Gazette Record about Saturday's track meet. Nobody's going to get that information until today. That track meet happened last Saturday. So news travels a little slow in the newspaper. However, if I jump on my Twitter account and I tweet out results from the track meet on Saturday at 12:02 p.m., somebody could read that at 12:03 p.m. It's much faster this way. Non-traditional, the new stuff, much faster. Let's find out, or let's write down traditional characteristics. Characteristics of each. I'm going to give you about 2 or 3 minutes. Whoops. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 minutes. If you write down 2 categories just like that, traditional and non-traditional, I want you to give me characteristics of both. We kind of just got into describing them both. One's slow, one's fast. I want you to continue down that same path. What other characteristics do they have? What are they more heavily based in? Who gives us the information? Where do we get it? Who creates each? Okay, so over to traditional. Well, I'll start it off with slow, and I hope most of you most likely had. It's slow or slower. What other characteristics? What do we have here, Benson?
Written. Well, some of it's written.
Okay. It's written. It's in print, right? Newspapers print, magazines in print. It's in text. Okay. What else under traditional? What else? Yeah.
Some of it's more of like a local.
Some of it's local. More of it's local. Sure. Yeah. How, yeah, go ahead. Silflo, you had a thought?
Part of everyday life. Most of us listen to the radio in the car. Usually read magazines and wait in line for something to get your hair done.
Okay.
People talk all the time.
Okay. So, and we'll get, okay. So it's everywhere. Traditional's everywhere. Sure. Newspapers are everywhere, magazines are everywhere. People talk all the time waiting in line to get their hair did. And their nails did. Is it cheaper?
It could be.
To print up the 10,000 editions of the Gazette Record with the ink and the paper. I'm going to say it's costly. It's going to cost more. How? Here's kind of guide you to a thought here. How formal or informal is traditional news? Formal or informal? And by this I mean professional or not professional?
I'd say one more non-traditional is formal. If you send someone an email, like it seems like anyone with a business does that every day.
Okay, so emails from a business are more likely professional. Okay, but
Traditional is really
on a scale, it's more or it leans more towards formal. It's more formal. Newspapers are formal. They're professional. Okay? Mostly. Or they should be. Okay? They're more formal. Magazines, formal. And in order to do this, in order to have formal writing, you're going to have journalists and reporters. That's who gives us this information. We have reporters at the Gazette Record who go out and they research stories. Maybe some of you have talked to a few. They've actually asked you some questions. They come to talk to me about what's happening in track or what's happening in the English classroom, whatever. Okay, they have reporters that actually do work. They research. So when they write, they have a little better credibility in their writing. They actually do some research. These people then are formally educated. You get a degree in journalism, and you can go work at the newspaper. They're also formally educated. Now let's move over to non-traditional.
Fast.
Fast.